Hola, ¿cómo estás? Just kidding, I'm not Spanish. I'm Swedish, but I speak English. And we're here to mess around with Scrap Mechanic. Yet again. And I'll be damned I will get a GUI this time. Where's my audio? There it is. We're gonna another scrapbot. Um, not much else. These have been working excellent. I need to reorder them though. And I need to reorder all of this and get all this set up. Let's kind of do that right now. That. Yes. And then I want... Oh! That. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Nice. So now they're all hooked up. 4 pieces of oil. And the flipping... Yeah, the filter got reset. Of course. Oops. I was wrong. Yeah, this is why I need to make the actually make the GUI. Yes. And I also need to make it save properly as well. Nice. Yes. I will get a GUI going. I just will. And why are you playing again? You bastard. Hey, jQuery. I have a task for you. Find a video element and run pause on it. Thank you. There you go. Don't want to waste bandwidth on that. But yes, as we have seen, there's very little reference to the GUI at all on the API website, which led me to believe that the GUIs are hard-coded. However, that belief has been challenged quite a lot by the fact there are layout files and that everything seemed to exist, but I can't find where it's defined. If you're not a programmer, you won't understand, but if you're a programmer, you'll basically recognize this as the tale of you don't have the right source files. So with that in mind, I did in the end of the last video eventually add the base data folder. However, I think, I'm not sure, but I'm fairly certain that it didn't occur to me to search for these functions, where they are defined, how they are created. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna search for create ammunition container GUI in data. Did I really... There we go. That's been troubling me. Like, I know I've been missing something. And this feels like it. Oh boy. Well, that's troubling. 0 matches. No, yes. Okay. Where are we headed? Yes, there. Where are we? Uh, where are we? Let's go to GUI. Let's see where we are now. Oh, jeez. Let's see what we can find here. Find. I forgot what find does on Windows, and that's an invalid switch. Does man exist on Windows? It doesn't. Fucking F. F. Just F. Find dash H. Invalid switch. Parameter not correct. Help find. Searches for text string in our file or files. Okay, that's not what I want. So I have dir here. Do I have grep? I don't. Is there an equivalent for Windows? Windows grep equivalents, yes. Whatever. Find string. Okay. Approximate grep equivalent, okay. So help find string. Oh god. Searches for strings in files. Okay, in files, so R, I guess, is line input. Am I blind? Oh, there. R uses search strings as regular expressions. Okay, so that's how you turn it into the. I think it's the gr or re part of grep. Uh, what slash c? String uses specified string as literal search string. Okay. So apparently if you don't give it a file name and just pipe input, it just does that. Okay. So dir hype2 find string regular expression search string being anything. Well, .lua is what we want to find. Nothing. Will we find layout files? Is this totally borked? No, that did find the layout files. All of them. XML, PNG. How did this match? There's no dot in here. Oh, because dot is anything. Okay. So it matched everything. Okay, let's find all Lua files. In just in data. Nothing. Hey Dirk, can you expand this? Like show stuff in directories? Like recursively? Also all subdirectories, okay. Okay. This is all Lua files in the base data folder. Not that many. I just had that stupid idea. What if the GUIs are defined in the player Lua files or something? Because it's the player that sees it. I don't know. But the thing is, it's the SM object that handles GUI stuff. And I know literally nothing about the SM object. There's no files for it. Which makes me think it's a generated object from C++. Essentially, it's the exe file, in a way. Or the DLL files beside it, in a way. But it might live in there. I mean, the thing is, there's so many layout files. What's the point? Of the layout files. Hold on. If I rename some of the layout files, for example the one according to the engine, something is going to throw an error. And if it doesn't, I'm gonna restart the game just to be in case. But if it still doesn't, then these are just developer leftovers, but I so much doubt that. I don't know, I have a feeling these are loaded for some reason. Let's see what layout files we can rename, just temporarily. Inventory.layouts. I guess that's a candidate. Question is, yeah, I mean, if the inventory is defined from a layout, it has to be from the base data folder. Which I do understand, but it's a bit disorientating. But it doesn't mean you need to change all the game modes version if you just want to change the survival, which is eh. But I bet there are utilities in the engine for overwriting stuff. Worst case scenario, you'd have to define it separately for each different game mode. But with Lua you could do sneaky stuff and just import stuff around and solve it that way. Or just in the config directly. It depends on how it's built. Because again, I haven't found the config for this yet. It's so frustrating. Is this working? Yes, hi. But yes, let's find the inventory. And rename that. That's not what I wanted. Inventory layouts. Let's rename that to inventory dot layout back. Okay. It hasn't complained yet. Okay. We will exit the menu and load back in, and if that's not enough, we will exit the whole game and endure all of that caching again. That's gonna be awful. We shall see. I think we're looking good so far. Let's try open our inventory. Uh-oh, it worked. Okay. Uh, uh, why did the music suddenly stop, game? This looks important. Probably important enough that I will break the game entirely, so I shouldn't. Motor GUI. If the options menu contains the \exit button, then I can rename the menu page and check by exiting back to the menu. Uh, so this is the indexed quick bar. Maybe nuke this one. Wait, what is this? What is this? My GUI widgets of type widgets. Skin panel empty. Name quick bar panel. Has a position, presumably a box. And that looks like a rectangle. Yeah, kind of ish. I have no clue. Yeah, that's a rectangle, alright. With the property of need key false, with the property of alpha 1, and then another widget in that called item box. Inventory tool grid is the skin. The name is Quickbar Grid. So there's the panel and then there's the grid. Also has a position, has a visibility and alpha. Then there are three more widgets saying hotbar indicator 0, 1 and 2. I have no idea what that means. Let's check the positions. I don't know. But let's rename that. Game is still fine. I don't want to restart the game. It's not worth it. I think I have to restart the game. Yeah. GUI layouts initialized from default, not from Lua, from default. What? These are all the units currently on the map. That's the seed. If you want to play along. 8.22698 to the E to the plus to the 8. Is that E or 10? I don't know. Scientific notation in computer science is non-standardized at best, sometimes. It might be E, it might be 10, it might be 2. Who the frick knows? It's probably not 2, but who knows? Who knows, not me. Game data particles 0 is uncompressed but uses bitmaps 0 auto. The fuck? but has uses, but has uses, but has uses. That's a bad sign. Yeah, that's all the loading. It doesn't mention the grid once. Oops. Which probably means it only loads the layouts on startup. Maybe if I'm quick enough, Windows will not throw all of it away from memory. Maybe. Actually, I'm gonna stop it from Steam. Stop. It stopped. Let me play. Come on. I'm moving on to Linux anyway. It's not worth getting a license. You know a product is getting a bit off track here, but you know a product is has other intents when it's free, when it becomes free, when it's been paid for a long time. You wonder why it becomes free. Shit don't just happen, they happen for a reason. Yeah, Windows dumped it all out of memory. Welcome to Lagtown. I hope you enjoy your stay. I hope you enjoy your textureless stay. This is like the bad version of the Matrix. Like, it doesn't even hide it. Like, yeah, there we go. There we go. Now we're here. You kept that. You kept that. Nice. Yep. And this is still here, so... Is it because it isn't indexed? We're renaming both of them. We're just defiling the files at this point. Alright, let's check chats. Load, you bastard, load. It's still here. How offensive. What? Excuse me, the heckle. Okay, let's find the craftbot GUI, because that we definitely know what it is, I think. Let's restore these, since that doesn't seem to give a fuck. The heck? Uh-huh. Craftbot GUI layouts. Here it is, in all of its glory. Friction. Buoyancy. Oh yeah, all of those. Wait, those are individual widgets? Oh lord! All of these little things are individual widgets. Oh my lord. Oh. Okay, but yes. So we have craftbot GUI, craftbot ingredient item, and craftbot item, and craftbot process item. So let's defile the craftbot GUI layout. For the love of God, just break. I'm trying to break the game here. I'm literally renaming its GUI files. It shouldn't know where they are. You bastard. I'm gonna restart the game again. This is redonkulous. Steam, just let me launch the freaking game. Just break. Game. Just break. Yep. Oh! It broke. That's bad news. I expected an error, but it broke. So that probably means that file is hard coded into the into the C++ program, or that there's just no error checking on it. I'm gonna find these logs. I'm gonna find these logs. Where are they? Logs. So which one of these are the newest? Sort by date. So my GUI is a separate log from the game log, which means that's maybe some built-in support for custom GUI in some way, or just a way for the GUI developers to have their errors in their files and that kind of stuff. Okay. So it removed the player dummy, and then the GUI system manager at line 579 could not find GUI file layouts craftbot GUI layouts. And that will probably be reflected here somewhere at the end. Yeah, craftbot GUI layout couldn't be loaded. Skin edit button not found. Replaced with default skin. You better fix that, devs. I gotta give it to you though. Your logs are, they're very neatly set up. You're not well, you are logging quite a lot, but not everything. And I mean, redundancy like this, it's nice to see the redundancy and that it's reported to the console, to the log. That way it isn't really an issue, but it is noted down for you to fix at whatever time you wish by actually fixing it or just doing what it does. Default skin in that case. But it seems the craftbot GUI is somehow more essential than the quick grid at the bottom there for some reason. So with that in mind, I will now search the data for craftbot GUI.layout and see if it's referenced anywhere. It probably won't be. And after that, I will search in the survival. Because it also does make sense that it kinda doesn't make sense, but it kinda also does make sense that the GUIs are defined in the base data, because you might reuse them, but it's kind of confusing to find that out and not know that in beforehand. So that's now it's just an assumption, but it's a logical assumption that you would keep basically all of your GUI stuff in the data folder instead of the survival folder. But it does make it confusing to those who don't know that. So that's something that should be written down in a README at the beginning of the project. And that's probably why these, oh, that's probably why these GUI files here, these layout files snuck in, because a relatively new developer didn't know that all the layout files and GUI stuff is supposed to live in the data folder and not in the survival folder, because it might be reused later. Yeah, still searching. I'm hoping for a hit, because if there's no hit here, that means the file isn't mentioned by any of the editable files I have access to. And that probably means it's hard-coded into the executable somewhere. Or it's in a config file that I don't have here in another folder. But I don't see what other folders you'd have data in other than these two. Of course, challenge data and challenges, but that's not going to be GUI specific stuff. And I checked in here in release, and that's just DLL files and executables and the bug splat reporter. Unmodified CRC calculator. You what? Okay. Yeah, that's all just DLLs and executables. 0 matches. Uh-oh. Okay. There's two options left. One which will mean we don't have access, and one means there may be some kind of access. The one where we don't have access is that it's baked into the exe or the executable somehow, somewhere, or the DLLs somehow, somewhere. But most of these are just shaders and textures and meshes and fonts. These aren't configuration files. Just looking around. It would be so nice if there was just a JSON file in the GUI folder telling it what layout files to load, and then it would make those into functions directly via the generated SM objects. It would be so nice if that is here, but it isn't here. It's nowhere. I've probably already done this search, but I'm leaning more and more against that the configuration for what layout files are loaded is hard coded into the executable. God damn it. Zero matches. Grown. Grown. Okay. F. Just add folder to project, scrap mechanic. Yes, the entire freaking thing. Let's find in folder, create container GUI, go. Have fun. 25,000 files. Let's go. Come on. What did I say yesterday? When you're not providing information, you brute force an answer. This is how you brute force an answer. After this, we will probably definitely know if the configuration is static or not. I will just do some more research around the Steam folder, just in case. The heck? Remote cache or whatever that was. Okay. Evo cache empty, downloading. That's probably stuff I don't even want to look at. Shader cache. DirectX Vulkan. Yeah. Source modes. Temp. workshop, yeah, that's just workshop. Maybe some of it lives in the mod tool. Okay, it's into the data folder. Oh wait, what? This uses the same engine? Okay, that's the game logs. But apparently the mod tool uses the same engine. Yeah. I keep seeing the my GUI stuff. It makes me wonder. Layout originals. Debug slider GUI layout. Here's the handbook again. That was just imported over. Windows, it's a fucking JPEG. What the hell's your problem? Windows, it's a JPEG. Please. Oh my god. Anger. So these are files from the mod tool. This is in the mod tool for some reason. And it's the handbook. Like what? Yeah, this is just copied straight from the handbook. Huh. And that's the tabs. Okay, whatever. Anyway, let's see where create container GUI is used. I wonder why this is mentioned. Headline 6000. Nice lost items and that's... Okay, that's not much at all. Let's go to line 6000. $6,171. That's probably when I printed the GUI of sm.gui. Anyway, hem. My GUI layers. So we have wallpaper, back, overlapped, middle, modal, main, pop-up, fade middle, info, tooltip, drag and drop, fade busy, pointer, fade, and statistics. Uh, Pointers. Wait, was that also resource? No, that was a layer. But that's a resource. My GUI type resource. My GUI type layer. My GUI type resource. My GUI type resource. My GUI type list. Okay. And the versions. Wait. Yeah, the versions change. My GUI 1.2 and 1.1. Yo, survival. What do you know about my GUI? Hem. Did I rename back the craftbots? No, I did not. So now the game should start, but given that it loads it on boot up, I wanna see what happens to the stuff it loads in survival, if it's the same deal. So I'm gonna rip away the quest GUI for it. I hope that it doesn't crash, but it probably will. Um, okay. That's peculiar. So why hasn't it gone crash yet? This is... I, I would have thought it would have crashed by now. Or is the survival folder only loaded once you enter survival? I mean, it would be logical if it was that way, but sometimes you just have to load things from the wrong places. And that's why you should reorganize and think of where you put your files, because it has a lot of importance. Just like naming things. Naming things implies your design. If something is called a wire, you expect it to work like a wire. If something is called a rope, you expect it to function like a rope. Even though wires and ropes may have overlapping use cases, a wire is not a rope. There's some fundamental design change or difference there. And that's why naming is so important. Because it also drives you, who are developing the code. It drives you to, be logical about it. If you name something that's supposed to be a database a storage, you're gonna treat it like a storage instead of a database. It all comes down to what we name things. But for some reason, this bastard of a game is not crashing now, even though the quest GUI isn't available to it. But the but it did crash when that wasn't available. What the? Okay, let's go to. I was about to say, what the hell happened to the sound? Let's go to the flipping trader. Oh, jeez. I have food. I have some food. Whoop. Let's go to the trader and crash when we enter his territory. Jesus. Audio is so delayed. Everything's so delayed. I don't think my disk is like... My disk of spinning Rust is not liking this. Many small files. And it's like, bruh. And this game is like, bruh, you should buy an SSD. And I'm like, bruh. Why though? I know it's fast, but I haven't been spoiled by it, by the SSD speeds yet. And I don't want to spoil myself, even though it's been like 8 years of SSD being like prominent. I guess I'm just stubborn. Thing is, I have enough RAM. I have 16 gigs of it. So, if you can just get it into memory, little computer, then there would be no problem. I like my little piston vehicle. Oh, look what we have here. Ow! Bastard. I don't know why I'm picking up those anymore. I can craft them now. Oh, that's a running cow. So, the only reason why we're actually on this journey is because we're on the way to the place where the quest giver is, I think. I think the hideout and the quest giver is the same thing. Just defined differently by the GUI department and the programming department, I guess. It's bound to happen on big projects like these. Because I don't know of any other quest giver in the game. Other than the trader. And, I mean, he's the closest thing to a quest giver. He's kinda... He's needed for... You need him to get a spud gun, and that's kinda why I can see why someone thought he was a quest guy. But he is a trader, because you actually buy stuff from him. There it is, there's the hill, and here's the packing station for it. One of two. Normally it would start to lag for a bit here. I assume that's when it loads stuff. And I assume that's when it loads the layout file, which we have ripped away from it. Wait, was that it? Okay, there we go. Stuff got loaded and destroyed. There we go. The game hasn't crashed yet. Oh, okay, let's check the console. Okay, nothing yet. Let's pause the game right there by marking. And let's see what that spam was earlier that we saw. Okay, that little lag we had there was just saving. It saved some bodies, I guess. But yeah, the store seems to be made in the C++ since it's reporting from default instead of Lua. But it does report script data. What the heck? Let's keep scrolling. It's saving a bunch because we're traveling. The game is still running, why? I marked on the console, it should not run now. Oh wait. I might have just found something out. Just by coincidence. Hold your manager. Hum. That was the roadside market. Okay. It hasn't attempted to load the GUI yet. Apparently. Or I missed it. It seems a bit odd. Given that the CraftBot GUI was loaded on startup, but this hasn't. This game, I swear. Habdullah. Okay, okay. Let's check. Let's check. I noticed a thing. It seems to be consistent. Ever since I entered the traders, there hasn't been any checks from the farm bot about my plot size. Which makes me think this is hard programmed to never be invaded. So maybe if you're able to plant stuff in here, you will not get raids. But yeah, that's this is weird. Is there a... Oh. There is a hideout GUI. So what is... Hem. Makes me big think. So, apparently, quest giver and hideout are not the same thing. So, and to my knowledge, no one else knows about a quest giver. So apparently, there will be a quest giver sometime soon, hopefully. I mean, the game shipped with the layout files, so it's probably work in progress, if anything. Not gonna say anything more than that. So, the quest GUI isn't used anywhere because, well, it's work in progress and the character that uses it doesn't even exist. Oh yeah, it says lorem ipsum in it. It's um, it's literally in development. But yeah, hideout GUI, I have no broken that. Let's relaunch the game again. Wait, it didn't crash? What? Why? There we go. XML file? Local temp. Why did it make it XML? That's P9 XML. Alright, that's just bug splat specific stuff. Okay. Wait, settings.json? What? Yo. Brood. Dude. Settings.json in app data? Why are there... Hmm. Hmm. I'm assuming that Bugsplat has marked that file because that's where it kind of failed-ish. But yeah. Let's find scrap mechanic in here and see why it marked that file. Scrap. No scrap? The heckle. What about the axolotls? Yes. 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 User. Okay. So blueprints, challenges, mods, progress, save, tiles, worlds, save, survival, First of all, .database, okay. Progress empty, modes should be empty, challenges empty, blueprints empty, keybinds not interested, settings. Why was that marked? Okay, it's just general settings. Well, you can set the dev console to 1 here if you want. GUI volume 0.8. So yeah, these are just the settings for my user. So that's not interesting. What is interesting though is... Oh, not that. Is this, I think. GUI System Manager. Was it line 579 before as well? For the... Okay. So, here I have the craftbot GUI, and here I have the hideout GUI. The craftbot was loaded on line 579, and hideout GUI is loaded on 579. So, that tells me they are loaded in a loop from an array, I guess, of file names. That array of file names, to my knowledge, is static and baked into the executable. That's what my findings can tell you so far. So you can change the existing GUIs and layouts and stuff like that, but you can't create a new one, I think. Hey, GUI System Manager, are you mentioned anywhere else? No. You know that stupidity I said before about the GUIs being referenced in the character, like the creative character and the survivor character? That's our only hope now. It's a stupid hope, but it's a hope, so I'm gonna investigate it. Where did I find the creative character and all that stuff? Yeah, it was in scripts, worlds. Maybe they're defined in Lua files instead of JSON files. Anyway, creative player. Okay, that's a skeleton if I've ever seen one. Check the survival version of that. This is survival player. HUD. GUI. What's this in? On-client data update. One update. This is the piece of code that fills the bucket you're holding with water if you go into water while holding it. Apparently. Neat. How long is this? Okay, this is pretty long. Well, gets my hopes up in a way, because the more there is, the more of a chance there is that it's GUI related, in a way. More data to sift through to find anything at all. Oh, what the heck? Ugh. This is bullshit. Create survival HUD GUI. Let me rephrase that so you can actually hear what I'm saying. We have our answer. The comment here says hack. disabled until Lua GUI is implemented. Which pretty much tells us straight up from one of the developers there that GUI handling, well, GUI rendering and stuff. I don't know what part of the GUI. You can obviously control some of the GUI from the Lua, but as we have seen, the GUI is part of the actual C++ engine that they've written, which means there are some static things in there, and some of those static things seem to be what's loaded for what files are loaded for what, and assigned to what objects for what reasons. That seems to be kind of static right now. But this comment tells me in the future there will be actual JSON and Lua files to allow us to load in layouts and assign them and have the SM objects have that in it. Maybe just from simple assignment in one of the JSON files, or maybe generated from the engine and put into the generated SM object. Actually, it would probably be in the JSON files, because what's in the SM object seems to mostly be the engine and no real configuration. All the configuration seems to be loaded, except for what layout files are loaded, which is But yeah, this here tells everything. Lua GUI is not here, but it is on the way. So this, whatever this does, which seems to be setting the icon for your lost items, at least there. Yeah, lost item marker. Apparently that's done by the engine right now, in a specific hard-coded case apparently. In the future, they plan to move it out to Lua. And I thank God for that, because I just wanted to create a simple block, man. And I just wanted another row of... that word, I know you hate it, developers. I just wanted another line of items. I know I'm saying just. And I know there's probably a lot of hair pulling involved into getting that working. I don't know. I feel there should be some mentions on this API site here. Because there are things referenced in the API that we simply don't know how it got created from the other files, because most things here are created from the other files. And then the SM object walks in with its freaking, where is it? with its create ammunition container GUI function, and its create battery container GUI, and chemical container GUI, and fertilizer container GUI, and gas container GUI, and seed container GUI, and water container GUI, and they're literally not referenced anywhere else. People are going to wonder, how was this configured? And as it turns out, it's configured by hard coding it in the engine, I think. And that's kind of a bummer for now. But it's kind of what I feared, since the layout files I have seen, there's no real actual structure to them. They just mention things, and then it's up to the engine to know what specific file is supposed to be at what specific thing, if that makes any sense. Some of these layout files referenced the cursor, and some of them referenced the GUI. Like, how does the engine, the engine needs a way to know that certain things are cursors, and that certain things are backgrounds, and that certain things are containers and stuff, or grids, or I don't even know. But what the heck am I looking at? But yeah, the main menu. There is structure here, but there's not enough structure to tell the engine where things actually need to live. Like, I would have understand if this file was accompanied by another JSON file or XML file that was like, yo, this layout file is to be used on this type of game object when it exists, or something like that. Or it's to be named this thing and to be referenced by Lua stuff, or something like that. But I haven't seen that, so I mean, everything I've seen so far points to that the engine magically knows and has a list in itself somewhere that tells it that this specific layout file is for the cursor, this is for the main menu, this is for the GUI, this is for the craftbot, this is for the HUD, this is for the seat. Actually, wait, let's check that real quick. Let's check if the seats in the interactables or objects mention no. That's the thing. It's just the JSON defines a parameter named seat, and then the engine is like, oh yeah, that's a seat. And then it magically knows it needs to get the seat GUI when you enter it by some internal thing. That internal thing, whatever it is, wherever it lives, I want it to be a JSON file or XML file or anything. A human readable file, at least. Because, well, it might be that it is and I just can't find it, but yeah, I can't find it. Ah! This is what despair is. Like, literally, I've searched the entire scrap mechanic folder for any instance of create. Maybe it's this one. No. But I know I searched the entire scrap mechanic folder for create container GUI. And it just doesn't exist. It's not defined anywhere. Maybe it's this container GUI. Maybe this is my last chance, basically. None of the file names of the layouts are mentioned anywhere in the code or the configuration. Let's see if we can at least find a reference. Whether it's a function or a table or a name. If this says 0, well, it's not going to say 0, but if there's no additional results that I haven't seen before after this, I'm basically 100. I'm not going to say 100% because I have missed things. Humans miss things because humans are humans and humans miss things. So I'm not going to say 100%. But I'm basically 99.999% sure that the layouts and GUI related stuff is done, at least the configuration of it is entirely in engine. And none of it is in actual JSON or XML or layout files. Well, the actual layouts are in layout files. But then again, there seems to be this thing called my GUI. But that might just be a red herring. That might just be some expandable mod GUI thing. But that's the thing. If there's a mod GUI thing, then I can use that. But then that should be referenced, or that should have references, so you could actually direct it where to load things from. You know? Why was this in the game logs? What the heck? Why was code printed to this game log? $3,600. 40. Oh, it was complaining about my code in filter GUI. LOL. So that's nothing. And that's printing in the logs that I did of sm.gui. There is no function yet for create quest GUI, so I just thought that. So, these are, so far, all of these have been found before. Anything after this will be new, I think. I'll just put my cursor there for marking sake. What happened? It's done. Let's see. Let's be extremely desperate. Let's search for underscore GUI. This is literally a shot in the dark. This is literally the equivalent of loading your shotgun and spinning around and just shooting at this point. Oh no, it may match a bunch of wait, what? Oh, okay, that's just the interface. That's just the localization strings. There's the my GUI references again. CPP files, CPP files. Well, basically tells you right here. GUI initialized blah 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 .cpp. Wait, what? Load ini file, GUI fonts. So, I mean, this is what I mean. It's kind of split up. The GUI engine, some wait, I need to check the craftbot again, because that was doing things with the GUI, I think. Or maybe it's just sending data to it. Okay, from my knowledge that I have acquired so far, I can say that the GUI system currently in use in Scrap Mechanic is hard-coded when it comes to the different types of GUIs that are currently in it. I'm not gonna say anything of how the engine knows what files are used for what things. It probably has an internal list for that, but I'm not gonna. There's many ways to do it, is what I'm trying to say. And you can pass data back and forth to the GUIs defined, and you can set callbacks to different buttons and things. But in the end, the GUI is locked away in the C++ region of this, which means it's completely outside Lua, which means you ain't getting jack shit. You ain't getting any access at all, is what that's saying, essentially. Again, disclaimer, since I don't have the full source code, anything that I just said could be entirely wrong. It probably is in some ways. But it's my closest estimation of what's happening here. And with that in mind, let's get that hideout GUI back to normal. What a bummer. Like this is all we know about the SM object. We know nothing more than this. Like, what about sm.gui or sm. Whatever? I mean, I know some of it lives here somewhere. Yeah, here. But this is actual objects, instantiated objects in the world. This is not part of the SM engine object, if you get what I mean. Like, these have XYZ and all that stuff. All these objects. I want definitions for what the helper functions of SM do. sm.gui.whatever or sm.container.whatever. But well then, now we know that. That was a nice way to waste a few days. 2 days was that, I think? Or a day and a half? Whatever. Hey, look, it's morning. The sun is rising. Wow. Actually, let me check. Let me go and see. Still raining? Is it? Not really. Oh, kind of. I don't know. Anyway, I will take a break now because my head is what you would call mangled. Mushy. Yes. See you next time.